Hi, this is Gary with MACMOST.com. Here are 10 ways to report different problems to Apple. MACMOST is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 1,000 supporters. Go to MACMOST.com/Patreon. There you could read more about the Patreon campaign, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So Apple provides a variety of different ways to report problems and ask for help. Some of these would have to do with problems with Apple itself, others with third-party apps and content, and others for different types of problems that you may want to inform Apple about. Let's start off with the most well-known method, which is the feedback page. At apple.com/feedback you can report issues with your products. Now, of course, if you're actually having a problem with your device or you need direct support from Apple, you should go to Apple's support site, call them, or make an appointment at the Genius Bar. But if you just want to report a problem, one of the main places to do that is apple.com/feedback. This is where you can tell Apple what you think about various features and software and hardware and make suggestions. When you go to this page, you'll be asked to choose which product that you're talking about. There's a variety of different things here, including apps for Macs, for iPads, iPhones. There's iCloud and different services. So you select whatever is closest to what you want to talk about and then go in and then fill out the form. The form is a little different depending upon the category. This is the best way to tell Apple about problems so that they may be fixed. Reporting them on some other website or even Apple's discussion forums isn't the best way to do that because that's not actually looked at by Apple employees. But anything that goes into one of these feedback forms will eventually be seen by somebody at Apple. So be sure to use this if you really want to see change in the future. Now, what about if you found a serious problem having to do with security or privacy and you want to report that to Apple? Apple has this page about it, and here they list an email address further down on the page that you can use to report such an issue. Now, in addition to reporting it, there's actually a bug bounty. At the bottom of this page there's a link to go to Apple's developer site, and they sometimes pay people who discover security issues. Now, unless you're a professional security researcher, it's unlikely that you're going to find a security issue worthy of a bounty, but it could happen. Now, when you're using Apple's website, you may notice a problem with the site itself. And Apple actually has a separate feedback page for its website. If you go to apple.com/contact/feedback, you can start the process of submitting feedback about the web pages at apple.com. So what about a problem with third-party content? One of the places you find that is in the App Store. What if there's a problem with an app that maybe is violating some rules or shouldn't be there? You can go to this page here to find out how to report things. There are app stores, of course, on the iPhone, iPad, and on the Mac. And on each of these app stores you can find a Report a Concern button. For instance, if you go to the App Store on the Mac, you can find a Report a Concern link, but only for apps that you purchase. So you won't normally see this unless you're looking at an app that you've purchased, and then you can go down to right about here under Information and you can find Report a Problem right there. But you could also go directly to reportaproblem.apple.com. However, I should note that if it's a problem with a third-party app, you should first try to contact the developer because they're the ones that provide support for their apps, and it's much more likely you're going to get a quick answer and a solution from them than you will by using the report mechanism at Apple. Also, don't use reviews to report problems. If you've got an issue with an app and you want it solved, try to contact the developer support. That's the way to go about doing it. When you leave a review, they have no way to actually get in touch with you to work with you to solve the problem. Now, this page is also where you go if you've got a problem with any content you purchased from Apple. So, for instance, if you've purchased a movie or a rental or something like that and you're having an issue, this is where you would start to get help with that and potentially get a refund. And it will direct you to reportaproblem.apple.com, which will ask you to log on with your Apple ID. Now, there's very often content inside of apps that you might need to report. For instance, if information is wrong in the app, like here in Maps. So you can select any location in Maps and it brings up info like this. If you think something is wrong or needs to be changed, there's a Report an Issue button at the bottom. And then you can go through the prompts here to report a problem. Likewise, you can report problems in the News app. So anytime you're reading a story in the News app, go to the Share button here. And you'll find there's Report a Concern right here in the News app for any story that you see. There are probably thousands, maybe tens of thousands of stories published directly from publishers into the News app. Apple doesn't review them or anything like that. So there could be that there's a news source that Apple approved a while ago that now is publishing something that should maybe be reported. Likewise, this could be an issue with podcasts. Podcasts, of course, are published by anybody, and you simply register it with Apple for it to appear in the Podcasts app. If you have a concern, instead of going in the app, there is a special page Apple has right here that allows you to report a concern with a specific podcast or episode. Now, Apple also wants you to report any phishing attacks to them, specifically ones that involve Apple. In other words, somebody sending you a text message or email and pretending to be Apple, or calling you and pretending to be Apple. They want to know about these, and you can go to this page to read a little bit about them, and they have a special email address here where you can report these. And also, Apple has a special page where you can report counterfeits or knockoffs. So you may have bought an Apple product not directly from an Apple store and found that it's not actually really an Apple product. It was listed maybe on a popular e-commerce site and what you got isn't Apple quality. And Apple had this special form on this page where you can report that kind of issue. And here's one more for those of us that create music. If you find a song that you created is in the iTunes store but not from you, somebody stole it from you, you can actually report it at this special page at Apple's site. So there are various ways to contact Apple directly about problems that you may have or feedback you may want to give. Hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.